is America.
America!
I do love America.
Be a part of the show at 850-233-9988. The Kramer Show on NewsTalk at 101.
What up? It's the Kramer Show. Waiting on Scott Major to give us a little buzz, a little ringy-dingy. Scott Major was in town last Friday. And, we had him in town to be part of the first ever Live from the Atrium. And he came into town, and listeners came, and we sat there and had Scott talk to everybody. Had a lot of questions. And then News 13 showed up, and they did a news piece, and they put it up, I think, at some point yesterday. And it was very nice. Although, man, do I hate being on camera. Ugh. You know, I don't know how anybody could do that for a living. I really don't. Because you pick yourself apart when you're looking at yourself. And then you start thinking, well, I should have said this. I should have said it that way. I should have been sitting a certain way. Facebook, Mr. Producer. I should have, done something or said it more, intelligently or whatever. Because, you don't have time to, well, let's cut that. Let's go back. Plus, I just do not, like my face, there's nothing about it that needs to be on television. Really. I mean, I look. Okay, I'm looking at my picture now. I look like a truck driver from the 70s who was forced to put on a nice shirt to go to church on Christmas. That's kind of what I look like. I just don't have a lot to work with, man. You get older and you get fatter. Ugh. I am such a dopey-looking fella. I mean, I can't deny that. I have to, acknowledge it. Yeah, we're sitting there, and she gets Scott to, she interviews Scott, and Scott's doing it perfectly. Scott, handsome guy, well-spoken, had like a suit jacket on, and he's just crushing it. So then they go, okay, well, could we talk to you for a second? I'm like, oh man, and I'm standing there thinking the whole time, please don't ask me to, please don't ask me, please don't ask me to. And then they got to put the microphone on, and there's that whole weird situation. I'll play the audio in a little while. Scott Major from Major Parúas and the Storm Help Team, just talking about your appearance on Friday and how well you did on the news. Scott, how are you?
Great, pal. How about yourself?
Doing great. I was just telling everybody that you were such a natural when the news showed up and they asked you to go on, and you did it like a pro who's been doing it for 20 years, and while you're talking, I'm thinking, God, please don't ask me to. Oh God, they asked me. Now I got to put the mic on and get on television. Ugh. And I've seen you interview. I mean, you've been on television up in New York and everywhere else. You say you're like an old pro at it.
That's so funny. That's so nice. Yeah, I thought it was a good event and good start for what'll be a long-term and fun thing, and we'll have thousands of people there soon.
Yeah, man. I'm hoping so. So Scott Major from Major Parúas and the Storm Help Team. By the way, it's stormhelpteam.org. And we covered a lot of information on that show, as we've covered a lot of information over the past nine and a half months. There's a lot going on. I told everybody yesterday that I went back yesterday afternoon and I watched some of the coverage of the hurricane because I didn't, our power went out and I didn't get to watch any of the coverage, and I did it, and it really made me think about just my house and what I lost. And we lost our fence, we lost our roof, we lost windows, we lost all of our trees. We've had damage to parts of the home, parts of the garage, parts of our doors, parts of the decking out by the pool. And I could go on and on. The yard is jacked up. This is jacked. Things are so different. And although we're making progress, and although, in one regard, there are people that are getting their lives back to somewhat normal, but then there is another portion of people that live in this community and surrounding communities that are nowhere close. And what's also odd about it is on the street that I live on, there are houses that are okay, right? And you're driving down the road, and one on the left and one on the right, they're perfectly fine. And you go down a couple of houses, and those people are living in a tent, or they're living in their carport, or living in a camper. And then a couple of houses will be okay, a little bit of damage. Then then you skip on down. So overall, there are so many people here collectively that are still dealing with issues of trying to get back to a normal life. It's mind numbing.
Yes, it is awful, and the widespread devastation is just profound. And I'll tell you that it is something that I see after major storms. This particular one was more acute, more significant, because it was a Category 5 storm. And it is just such a tragedy and so awful that so many people still don't have all of their money, number one, or number two, weren't provided with sufficient insurance. They weren't given the right advice when they got their coverage, and so they are, uncovered or insufficiently covered, and having to live in this squalor, or having to only perform some repairs because they didn't have the right insurance. So it's a combination of so many people who haven't been paid their full insurance benefits, likely because they're being duped or because there is a wrongful delay. And then those that just were not able to get good insurance advice and so didn't have sufficient coverage. It's incredible. And when you think about the additional living expenses angle, or people who have gotten some money and been able to, say, get an RV, it's wonderful that they're able to get an RV, but they are living in their RV. They might be living in their RV with their dogs and other children and other situations that are just crazy and overwhelming. And that's because their house hasn't been repaired, because their insurance company has not performed in the way in which they want, and they're impotent to do anything about it because they don't have a Scott Major or somebody who is sufficiently educated and smart enough to know how to sue or how to pursue the insurance company in a way that would motivate them to pay. I mean, if you and I had $1 for every person who still to this day still does not have full payment from an insurance company, even though they've documented their damages, it would be stunning for people to know that.
Yeah, I can't imagine. If by this point you're not dealing with an attorney and you're looking for an attorney to help you get out of the muck, Scott and his team from Major Parúas and the Storm Help Team, that's who you want to reach out to. 844-800-LAWS is their phone number, 844-800-LAWS. There's a lot to this. I think once you call Scott and you tell him all the information, what they need to do, right? They need to contact you, talk with you, tell you what happened, where they are in the process, and then they need to give you any type of communication that they've had back and forth with the insurance company, correct?
That's correct. And a lot of people aren't even aware, as you and I have talked about, they're not aware of the status of their claim because they, say, have a public adjuster or they're still waiting on the insurance company, and they don't know what's going on. They don't know, other than somebody telling them, don't worry, we're working on it, or don't worry, it's in process. They don't have 10 or 20 letters written over the past 10 months that tells the insurance company to provide an explanation why they have not paid the total estimate or which parts of the estimate are invalid or insufficient or inaccurate and in what way. And you would be surprised at how tragic it is that insurance companies are unable to communicate effectively with their insured, or when asked, they don't provide sufficient response, and they know or have attempted to leverage the graciousness and wonder of the people of the Panhandle who might not want to sue, or there's been this mythology out there about how bad lawyers are, or they're expensive, or whatever you may seek. And so now we are in month 10, and we still have thousands, if not tens of thousands, of people who still have not been fully paid their insurance monies.
To get in touch with Scott Major on the air, 850-233-9988, the phone number. Just call up, hop on hold real quick, and then we'll get you, and you can ask Scott Major any question that you may have. 850-233-9988, 850-233-9988. It pretty much runs the gamut. I've heard everything from people that have been given excuse after excuse from the insurance company as to why they haven't paid. And someday you should write a book, another book, and you should just have actual quotes from insurance companies why they're not paying. And just like one quote on every page.
Right, it would be profound. And I'll tell you that it's just so unfortunate that so many people still have either not gotten a lawyer or not gotten the best lawyer or still don't know the status of their claim to know whether or not there's a reason for the delay. I tell you, after seeing so many thousands of claims over a lengthy period of time, I can tell you with fair conviction that I don't believe it is possible for any listener to have not gotten a response from the insurance company as to the exact status of their claim because the insurance company still needs to investigate it 10 months later. So for those people who have that, do not wait. Do not sit there and wonder whether or not your representative or your public adjuster or your contractor is going to get your money. Get to a lawyer where we can motivate the insurance company to pay you. When I came on with you in week 1 or 2, and we were talking about this, we discussed how people will likely not hire a lawyer and believe and trust in the insurance company. And it's just hard sometimes for people to get over that hump of, I just need to get legal counsel involved. And we get results. And we get results both because we're good, but also because economically, the insurance company has an incentive to pay. When they realize they're going to have to pay you, they're going to have to pay me and their own lawyer. And they may have to pay you more than once. They may have to pay for 2 or 3 times the amount of money if they're acting in bad faith. It's incredible.
All right, we're going to take a break. In the meantime, phones are open for you. 850-233-9988. To get on the air with Scott Major, 850-233-9988. Stormhelpteam.org. More with Scott Major coming up next.
Smoke them if you've got them. Kramer will be back. NewsTalk at 101. This is the Kramer Show. News Talk at 101.
Glad, as always, on Tuesdays and Thursdays to have Scott Major on with us from Major Parúas and the Storm Help Team. Stormhelpteam.org. And, you know, if you are a member of Condo Board or any other organization that would like to have Scott come out and speak, you can call them up at 844-800-LAWS, 844-800-LAWS, and ask for Scott to come. Scott was gracious enough to come up on his own dime the other day to live from the atrium and to talk to people about anything and everything. And I'm sure that people have. I'm sure a large part of your day is probably people that hear about the firm and they call you up just to ask you questions. And that's part of this whole deal. Most people in the area have never had to really use an attorney for anything, and for the first time are finding themselves needing to do that.
That's an excellent statement. I'll tell you that as soon as yesterday, I've had people calling on the phone to say, you know, what do I do, or how does an attorney get involved? What happens when I get a lawyer involved? What is the process? Or, as you aptly mentioned, we have lots of situations where I have answered hundreds, if not thousands, of questions from prospective, you know, clients who never hire me, but they're looking for good information and a solid understanding of what it is that they need to do or how they can learn more about their claims, because it's just been difficult. And I think over time sometimes also what happens is people either give up or they become so exasperated, they become so despondent about, you know, they're not getting their claim paid, that some people just give up and they just don't even pursue the claim, or they accept much less because either their adjusters told them they're not going to get any more money, or because they just don't want to deal with the stress and upset. You know, it's just very, very troubling and saddening when you think about that.
Yeah, it is, and it can be a daunting experience, I'm sure. All of this is probably overwhelming to people. You know, you have your home, your business, things that have gone wacky. Then you've got contractor issues, and you know, there can be a million other different things within that. I think the main point, the one that I love the most about Scott Major is if your claim is for $50,000 and they say, insurance company, we're going to give you $49,507. That's bullcrap. No, you're still owed more money. And he means that when he says that, and you should never let them lowball you, ever.
That's exactly right. And I'll tell you, we don't care about how much money you're owed. You should not fear that because you're owed $2,000 or $20,000, that somehow that claim is too small for a lawyer. The irony is that small claims, in almost every situation, we're able to make the people whole, and we can get all of our attorney's fees paid by the insurance company. So you end up with essentially a free lawyer. So there are so many situations where we can secure recovery from the insurance company where your fee, the amount of money you pay to a lawyer, is not very significant. Obviously, there are times when you'll pay more. But the most important thing, as people have seen, is the sooner I can get my money back, the better it is that I can start to get my life back. And so the sooner that you get a lawyer involved or get educated about what your options are, the more powerful your life becomes, because you can get back to that and not have to deal with the stress that we see every day. And I just spoke with a very prominent doctor in your area, and it's unbelievable that she has gone nearly 10 months with a completely devastated property, $1 million worth of damage, and she still hasn't been paid. a penny. She's been paid some ALE money, but nothing on the structure. And the structure is devastated. And not only that, she didn't have sufficient insurance. She had $1 million of coverage for her structures and only $20,000 of coverage for her other structures. And her pool and pavers alone are probably $40,000 or $50,000, if not more. So it's just so important to make sure you have proper coverage, and so important that you take action now. If you do not have a lawyer involved, get the best lawyer that you possibly can get, because you're going to have a better result when you do that.
All right, we're going to take a break. Got some phones. If you're on the phone on hold, sit tight because we'll get you up with Scott Major. I have another question coming up. 850-233-9988. 850-233-9988. Scott Major is with us from Major Parúas and the Storm Help Team. More with Scott coming up.
This is the Kramer Show on Panama City's information station, NewsTalk at 101. NewsTalk at 101 in Kramer. Live and local in the mornings.
Here we go, man. 7:35 in the morning. Today, July 30th. Beautiful day. Going to be sunny, hot, probably humid as hell. Welcome to Panama City 2019. Trees were overrated anyway. Who needs any kind of shade or any kind of relief? Scott Major with us from Major Parúas and the Storm Help Team. Let's go to Jason. Jason, you're up with Scott Major. Hello.
Morning, fellas. I got a quick question for Scott. Now, with my mom's house, she's dealt with the insurance company, hired a PA. They've released all the money that they were supposed to after we fought tooth and nail. Now it's in the bank. The bank don't want to release it. They've released a little bit of money. We got the roof done about 2-3 months ago. We've taken them a certificate of completion and an inspection report and the invoice from the contractor. But they won't release no more of the money. They keep asking for nickel and dime stuff that's irrelevant to this. You know what I mean? What do we need to do here?
Good question. You have to look at your mortgage documents, because the mortgage company is not permitted to essentially steal your money and not provide it to you when you've made the repairs that are documented and supported by, either receipts, checks, and other data. And so my suggestion to you is to make sure that you all have written the mortgage company and asked them, dear mortgage company, as you know, I've provided you with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You need to release X dollars that is remaining, or provide me with a sufficient explanation within 2 business days as to why you are retaining my money without cause. Love and kisses, you. And I'll tell you, if you do that, you'll begin to start to put pressure on them to do what they're supposed to do. And if you're unsuccessful in getting a response, then elevate it to management. Find out who it is that is managing the person who's handling your claim, and you'll be surprised at how much production you can get from them when you show them that you've written several detailed letters asking them to either pay you or to provide a sufficient explanation.
Damn forward, brother. We sure do appreciate you.
Sure. Have a great day. I'm glad you think it helps.
So finding the person, when you say finding the management, is that easy to do? I mean, how difficult is that?
Usually you can find the servicer, which is the mortgage company. You usually can find their higher level people by simply asking or calling the main number and then asking who's in charge. You'd be surprised. And I'll tell you that if we get enough people who aren't getting a response from a particular mortgage company, we'll file a class action lawsuit on behalf of 1, 10, or 100 people who aren't getting paid sufficiently, because nobody's above the law, and we should not be able to allow these companies to imprison the money which was supposed to be used to pay for the repairs. Now, some mortgage companies have the right to pay down your mortgage with that amount of money. You got to look at the specific clauses that are in your mortgage and get the help that you need. If you're not sure, too, and you have a public adjuster working for you, ask the public adjuster to explain to you what clauses in the mortgage agreement give you what rights, and see what they have to offer in terms of helping to empower you to get that money sooner.
Class action lawsuit. I think that's the first time I've, to my remembrance, you talking about that. How would that form? I've always wondered that. I mean, I guess,
Sure.
If you have a product that's faulty and you've had enough people, you put the message out there, they get together. Okay, that I get, but if you have a large group of people that have the same insurance company that are withholding funds, is that what you mean when you say class action lawsuit against certain insurance companies?
Yes, sure. So a class action lawsuit is just another phraseology for more than one person or a group of people, a representative class of people who are being similarly affected in a way that it makes more economic sense to have all of them represented in one action than to have a number of separate actions. And particularly if you have one mortgage company, for example, who is doing the same thing to many people, then you can make sure that you are holding them, their feet to the fire, by instead of having one claim, you have hundreds or thousands of people who are similarly affected in that wrongful way. And so you can group them together as a class, and one person serves as the representative, but everybody is treated in the same way, and you're essentially suing on behalf of a group of people. And that tends to be extremely powerful when an insurance company does not, or a mortgage company does not properly pay you when they should, or offers ludicrous or completely unsupported reasons for taking your money.
Let's skip to Tom. You're on the Kramer Show with Scott Major from Major Parúas in the Storm Help Team.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
There you go, Tom.
I had to reach out to an attorney firm to represent me, and they it's on my motorhome. I couldn't get anyone else to do it, so they told me now it's been almost 3 months that I've hired them, and I've contacted them about any movement on it, and they say no, it's going to be another 3 to 4 months. I said, well, why? I said, well, because they've got 30 days period here, and if we hassle them in that 30 days, they get an additional 30 days. I said, in other words, if you contact them maybe a month, they get another 30 days. You ever heard of that?
Never heard of that. Not sure that's the best firm to be with when people are making up things that aren't accurate. I can tell you that when you are served with a lawsuit, you have 20 days with which to respond if you are the insurance company. And you have to respond with either answering the complaint, that is denying or admitting the allegations, or you have to file an appropriate motion. After you answer, I can set that matter for trial, and on the next docket, it might be 3 months away or 8 months away, and you could put a lot of pressure on them. And you have to understand that a good lawyer will litigate and will make the insurance company spend the money and time that's necessary for the insurance company to explain what they have done or haven't done. See, what people don't realize is that as a lawyer, I can go and ask the insurance company every single thing that they've done, and they have to tell me under oath everything they've done. And when you see how little they've done in so many cases and how we can humiliate them for taking advantage of you, you can get really good results from the insurance company in a faster and more productive way when you have the right lawyers involved.
Well, after we hired this attorney, we didn't know, but they'd closed our case when they sent us the check, the first check. Because they did send us a letter saying that
closed the matter, you know.
Yeah.
You had to have it reopened. It's a common problem, and it allows the insurance company to say, we have closed this file and done a wonderful thing for our insured. And unbeknownst to you, you don't realize that they haven't made any attempts to pay you the rest of the money. So I encourage you to either get your lawyer to explain in writing why it is that they're making that claim, or alternatively contact us and we'll take a look at your suit and tell you what you should ask them or tell them.
Okay, great. That'd be fantastic.
No problem.
Tom,
yeah.
the number is 844-800-LAWS, 844-800-LAWS.
I appreciate that, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Tom, thank
Anytime.
you. It's amazing to me that insurance companies seem to get a pass on the, in other words, if another type of business treated you that way, how much longer would you do business with them? I can't equate that. I'm trying to put it into extreme practical terms, but you have a company that you've used their service and paid for their service, I don't know, for 10 years. I mean, I hear people say that they've had their insurance company for decades, for years and years and years. And now, they've never really had to use it until now. And then now this same company that they've done business with is withholding money. And there doesn't seem to be a mass outcry against these certain companies. It's weird.
No, I couldn't agree with you more, and I think it's part of this conditioning that has occurred in that, number one, don't hire a lawyer, you don't need one, or they're too expensive. Number two, don't worry, your public adjuster who promised you all your money will get you all your money, and for whatever reason, not their fault, they may not be able to get all your money. Or three, the contractor has told you don't need a lawyer, we're handling this. Part of that problem sort of allows the insurance company to further delay. And then most of this is ignorance. People don't know that they have the kinds of rights that you and I have talked about. They don't know that a lawyer, when they sue, can try to tax those costs, those lawyer fees to the insurance company because of a statute, 627.428. They don't know that under 624.155 that they can file a bad faith notice with the state, and if there is no good reason, then you can sue them for triple damages plus attorney fees plus emotional distress and other damages. There's just a lot of either ignorance or disinformation out there, and so people aren't getting together and rallying like you and I are talking about to report their insured, or as you and I talked about, to get your entire neighborhood to hire Scott so that he's going after all of these people at once, your entire neighborhood to go against a particular insurance company or group of insurance companies. And that's the only way to really get paid.
Yeah, I was talking about it this morning, about the emotion of just of still living here. And when you really think back to what life was like and what this place looked like, and before the storm and now after, I was looking at it yesterday, and I'm just my own house, right? My own yard and everything. And I was looking back before the hurricane, because that morning on the 9th, I videotaped a bunch of stuff. I was walking around. I was really anxious and nervous, and I walked around my house a couple of times. And I went back yesterday. I hadn't seen that little video that I made, because I'm walking around on my phone. I'm talking to myself. I'm like, oh, God, what are you doing? And, you see the fence and the trees and everything is starting to rain. And I had no idea at that moment how much life would not only change for me, but for my neighbors and my community. And to see people that are still struggling, trying their best to hang on to the very last thread, to be able to still live here and call this home. And they're having to live this way a lot of times because of the insurance company. It burns my ass, Scott. It burns me. And if there's anything that, if you have to get an attorney involved in order to get that process going, my God, hire, a Scott Major. On that, when somebody calls you and they say, here's what I've been going through, okay, I got a little bit of money from the insurance company, got a check, now they're kind of holding, they're holding on, and they keep telling me that something might be happening or whatever. When they pick up the phone and call you, what kind of timeline are you seeing with a private residence from that call to actually getting something done? Is there an answer for that, or is that too broad of a question?
No. I think that for some people, when we get retained and the next day or 2 days later we send a informational piece to the insurance company letting them know that there's a new sheriff in town, we oftentimes get a phone call asking to resolve the claim. Another situation is where if they don't do that and we file a lawsuit, we get phone calls asking us to resolve the claim. Sometimes once they get involved in the suit, they ask us to give them a number to resolve the claim. So in some situations, it occurs rather quickly that we're able to turn the tables and get more money to the insured. Sometimes it's very fast. There will be some cases where we're going to have to litigate. We're going to have to go through the process of the suit, and there's going to be some time and problems associated with that. But you'd be surprised when you get a reputable lawyer involved how the insurance companies recognize we probably should pay. And as sad as that is from the standpoint of it took Scott Major to get you money, to me, you should leverage the Scott Majors of the world, all of the listeners, to try to get your money as soon as possible, because the sooner we rebuild, the more we rebuild, the quicker that people get back to their lives and feel more empowered, and we have a new city and a new power behind us.
I'm going to take a break. I have a question. I've been meaning to ask you this particular question probably for 6 months, and it just occurred to me to ask you. And I can't wait to ask you the question. Somebody's on hold. You sit tight. We'll be back with you. More of Scott Major from Major Parúas and the Storm Help Team coming up next.
This is better than anything else on the air in the mornings in Panama City.
Hear that? Maybe he's not so great. Maybe he sucks.
More with Kramer in the morning next on NewsTalk at 101. Yeah, we said it.
It's the Kramer Show. It's NewsTalk at 101. Scott Major from Major Parúas and the Storm Help Team with us today. Kim, you're up with Scott Major. Go ahead.
Hi. Hey, I had a question. I had a contractor, and halfway through the project, it was taking months and months instead of weeks. We fired him. I had given him so much money, half of the actual cost of the contract, to begin with the contract. And then after I told him I wanted some of that money returned, and he said, well, that's not going to happen. Either way, anyways, he put a lien against the house. So I got that, and in the lien it says he wants, instead of the rest of the $14,000, only $11,000 plus change for the rest of the job. And, that's not going to happen. So I talked to a lawyer. They said to do my due diligence, I went on to myfloridalicense.com, and you lodge a formal complaint. And it's a 9-page, no kidding, everything about the contract, everything that was done wrong, pictures included, eyewitnesses, all of that. And then the second step was to go to the courthouse and file, I'm not taking this lien kind of thing, a response to the lien. But I don't know what happens next. So there's a formal complaint out filed with the state and this thing through the courthouse, but do I just wait? Do I expect to hear from him? What happens?
Sure. It's important for you to seek legal counsel because there may be remedies for you from the standpoint of going to court to eliminate the lien, to have the lien removed, or otherwise pursue the contractor if the contractor has not performed in a way that is deserving of the lien. And it's very important for you to do that. And there is a mechanism, and if you call us at the 844-800-LAWS number, we'll happily give you the name of a lawyer who does nothing but this, and that is helping consumers to go after the contractors if the contractor is not performing well, but still either holding your money hostage or filing liens which are not supported by the work that they've performed.
Kim?
Yes?
Did you grab that? I'm going to give you the phone number because we're coming up on a hard break, Kim. The number to call Scott, if you want to have this conversation further, is 844-800-LAWS, 844-800-LAWS. Scott, thank you for being on today. Thanks for another incredible hour. Thanks for taking time out of your day to talk to the listeners and answer questions on the phone. You have no idea how much we really appreciate it, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks for all you do for the community. Look forward to talking to you soon, pal.
I'll talk to you soon. There he is, Scott Major from Major Parúas and the Storm Help Team. StormHelpTeam.org, their website.
More of the Kramer Show next. News Talk at 101.
It's super duper.